So, Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is the sequel to 2023's Five Nights at Freddy's, and just like with the first film, Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is directed by Emma Tammy. And in the events of Five Nights at Freddy's 2, there is, to say the least, a plethora of things going on with this movie. Like, there are things going on with Mike Schmidt's character, Vanessa's character, there are things going on with this group of paranormal hunters led by McKenna Grace. But the main thing that's going on is that Mike Schmidt's sister, Abby, just wants to reconnect with her animatronic friends. But as a result of wanting to do so, it unleashes a curse that just might make for the end. And before I continue on with today's video, let's also start a conversation below. Out of all the games in the franchise, which one is your favorite? My personal favorite is Five Nights at Freddy's 2, but which one is your favorite? Let me know below. Alright everybody, let's get into Five Nights at Freddy's 2.
Excellent!
As far as the things that I liked about this movie, or actually let me rephrase myself, as far as the redemptive qualities of this movie go, there are two small things that, for me, redeem this movie. The technical aspects, in particular the animatronics and how they look. The animatronics in Five Nights at Freddy's 2 actually do look better than they did in the first film. The whole design, how they move around, the sound of them, they actually do look and sound better than they do in the first film. And the other thing is the marionette. The marionette actually has a couple of shots where that thing actually looks kind of creepy. But yeah, the marionette actually looked kind of creepy in this movie.
Well, that's just fucking great!
Man, I just realized, everybody, that what I'm about to say is going to get so many fans just jumping down my throat. This is something that I believe I said in my review of the first film. I'm gonna say it once again here. I am a fan of the Five Nights at Freddy's games. As a matter of fact, I have played the majority of them, and like I mentioned in my introduction, Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is not only my favorite game of the franchise, but it's one of my favorite horror games, period. That game, when I first played it, actually scared the shit out of me. What that game does in taking such a simple plot from the first video game and expanding upon not only the story, the characters, the gameplay mechanics, the sound, the jump scares, the tension, the atmosphere, Five Nights at Freddy's 2 for the video game is a better game in every single way. But man, I wish, and I really wish, that I could say the same thing for not only the first movie, but especially the second movie. Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is somehow worse than that first movie in almost every single way. I know that just from saying that a lot of hardcore fans are probably going to say it was made for the fans. Everybody, to those fans, I am a fan of these games. As a matter of fact, I'm a fan of the entire franchise. I'm a fan of the lore. Saying it was made for the fans does not make it good. If you happen to love not only the first movie, but also this movie, that's great. I'm happy for you. But don't jump down my throat when I say that this movie could be one of the worst horror sequels made in quite some time. Starting off with the plot of Five Nights at Freddy's 2, there is so much going on in this movie. Like, there is an excess of side plots to the point where there is no real focus of Five Nights at Freddy's 2. And it gets so unfocused that this movie is such a bore. And this is something that I cannot believe I'm about to say, but at least the first movie actually had things going on. Sure, there were stupid as hell things going on, but at least there was an actual central focus of the first movie, where in this movie, in the second movie, there is so much crap going on, whether it's things going on with Abby, Mike, Vanessa, the things that are going on with the school, this paranormal group which McKenna Grace leads. There is so much going on that there is no actual focus, and when it finally does focus up in the third act, at that point it was too little too late. And this really surprises me because from what I looked up, Scott Cawthon, who by the way is the creator of the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise, and he is the sole screenwriter of Five Nights at Freddy's 2, and apparently he listened to feedback from the first movie. Where's the feedback at, man? Seriously, I seriously want to know where that feedback went. If the feedback just went into putting in more Easter eggs, more callbacks, and more references to the games, that feedback does not work whatsoever, especially when you're trying to tell a central story, give good dialogue and character motivation. Or even more so in this case for the genre, for the horror genre, it doesn't carry it when you need, a real thing of tension, atmosphere, or scares. Now, as far as the performances go, the performances they're alright. I mean, there's nothing really to complain about. There's nothing to really write home about or anything like that. The performances, they're doing what they can with the script that they're given, especially knowing that Josh Hutcherson's character is really given nothing to do in this movie, and the same with, I believe her name is Elizabeth Lale, who portrays Vanessa in the film. McKenna Grace is in the film for a subplot that doesn't really last all that long, and she is Lily in the film for maybe, 15 minutes at the max, just to say that, yeah, McKenna Grace is in the film. Matthew Lillard is back in the film, and he's in it. Also, Skeet Ulrich is in the movie from Scream. Yeah, Skeet Ulrich is in this movie, and guess what? He's in it. 3 talents that are great, incredible talents, but their talents are just, wasted for the sake of them being in sequences that could have been good, but they just, to say one word, boring. One thing in particular that frustrates me greatly, especially as a fan of the games, is that this movie isn't scary. There is no singular point in Five Nights at Freddy's 2 where there's even tension, atmosphere, build-up, as it all leads to jump scares. Now, with that being said, I know everyone's gonna say, but the games have jump scares. Yes, they do. The games all have jump scares, but here's the thing. There's one thing in particular that happens before the jump scares. There's a little thing called build-up, but not only atmosphere, tension, sound. None of those things are made to work so that those jump scares are actually worth it. Now, are there a couple of cool jump scares in the movie? Sure, they are cool, but they would have been cooler if I didn't see them coming from miles away. This movie is not only so predictable in terms of its scares, but also in terms of the plot itself. Oh my god, something else that I almost forgot to mention was the writing, the dialogue. Holy crap. There is some dialogue in this movie, guys, that is just bad. And then there are jokes that just... were they supposed to be funny? Because these jokes were the easiest jokes that you could have done. I've been hearing this thing, and it's been kind of, to say the least, it's been grinding my gears, because hearing this just makes me go, oh, you gotta be kidding me. I have been hearing a lot of talk that these two movies are a great gateway for, PG-13 horror movies. Five Nights at Freddy's 1 and 2 are the worst examples of what they call gateway horror films for kids. Going on to the last thing, and that is the ending of this movie. The ending of Five Nights at Freddy's 2 has one of the dumbest cliffhangers that I have seen in quite some time. And then the ending for this movie, like the final shot of this movie, stupid.
And here we go.
So overall, Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is a sequel that's worse than the first movie in almost every single way. And it builds up to an ending that just made me roll my eyes. All in all, I'm gonna give Five Nights at Freddy's 2 a 0.25 out of 5. I really wished I enjoyed the movies like I love the video games, but hey, if y'all out there love both these movies, I'm happy for you. I really wished I was in that same boat. I hope you enjoyed my review of Five Nights at Freddy's 2. If so, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. If you guys want to see my previous 2 reviews, please click right there or right there. And of course, until my next review or video goes live, I will see you all next time.